2 seasons now at Barron's.
This is season 3 and we're at Edinburgh.
Season 3 at Edinburgh. All right then. So, active poet in the community, published poet, many books of poetry out. So everyone, welcome up here, Thasia Anne.
I am doing this with a cough drop and a bottle of water because I have been coughing my brains out. So we're going to try to get through this tonight. The chapbook is called Our Favorites, and my first poem is in the chapbook, and then after that I kind of go astray. This is called Back to School. For those of you who don't know me, I went back to school as a great-grandmother. Back to school. There are days when I feel I am standing on a track full of hurdles, and the runners are all lined up, and the gun goes off. I'm catapulted into the first set, and I make it scraping over the top as it tips behind me, wobbling back and forth. The next one is looming, and I stretch my legs horizontally to slip precariously over the wooden bar of intermediate algebra. By the fourth hurdle, I've hit my stride. Class after class, quiz after quiz whiz by. Break the tape, baby. Recently, I have been doing a lot of memory, thinking about things when I was younger. I don't know if it's because I had a birthday last week, hear things in the news. I have a new soapbox, which I'll tell you about at the end. This is called Whatever Happened. Down on all fours, I galloped and clumped around. I was the black stallion with the white flowing mane. I was proud to stand my ground, and from my nostrils shot flame. A few Barbies came and went, and out of cardboard boxes I did invent the first dream house. My next memorable phase was hanging from the tree limb with Janice covering her face and screaming, "Mom!" as her brother Matt pelted us with plums till my hands were numb from holding on. Cowboys and Indians, Tarzan swings, then walking down the street, singing loud and proud with Shelley, hiking and walking and talking, writing a letter to my aunt to thank her for the gift. These are my childhood memories. My boys were raised on a farm. My boys had real horses, of course no nostril flames, but thrilling just the same. And they ran across barn beams, and it seemed no matter how many times I warned, lacerations and stitches were the norm. Now, I see boys sitting with this thing in their hand staring, and I see a girl texting, not caring about dodgeball or skating, not about batons or dance. Is there a chance I missed it? Playgrounds with no basketball sounds, and baseball fields with no one running rounds. Well, I heard today on the radio that there is talk of removing cursive from the classrooms. No one uses it anyway, they say. Well, hey, does anyone watch TV? Revolution? Zombies of doom? No electric to power up computers, phones, and toys with no joy or imagination? A PlayStation? Where you sit? Well, with no electricity and no cursive, they won't even be able to write for help. This one is called The Note. In 1968, two girlfriends and I stood on the corner outside of school the last day of classes. We joked about going to school in 1969. We huddled together and carefully unfolded the note. The paper was pressed in half lengthwise and then in half lengthwise again. Bobby had taken the long, thin column and creased it triangularly all the way up the long paper white formation, and then finally tucked that last quarter inch inside itself. After taking her time undoing as to not tear the precious piece, Charlene smoothed the lined notebook paper across her thigh with her hand. Finally, after inhaling deeply, she repeated what she read. Charlene, I really like you. Bobby. We giggled like schoolgirls because, after all, we were. And I remember this some 40 years later, and I wonder, will girls from today remember that text the same way? And last but not least, when I was very young, we lived in Meadville, and we lived on Water Street. A lot of people don't know what that means, Heidi.
I know.
But since the Woodcock Dam, living on Water Street is not near the dilemma that it was when I was little. The Parkway Diner. The water was rising. The women worried. They bundled we children. Their movements were hurried. I was hoisted mightily onto the duck, and I watched as my mother climbed aboard. Oh, luck! We were ferried along with a crowd. All were fairly hushed till we reached the parkway, where the whispers turned loud. The diner smelled warm, of fresh coffee and cinnamon. In the backdrop was the clinking of cups. My grandma went behind the scenes and then brought me one. As others cried and fretted what to do, I was excited and allowed to have two. My grandmother's cinnamon rolls. Normally the talk of the town, this day they meant nothing, with basements flooded and people drowned. To be stranded where my grandmother worked seemed so much fun to a child of 4. I had no idea what else was in store to clean up the house. Hundreds of smashed ball jars filled with handmade spaghetti sauce and vegetables too. The cleanup days later, I still remember the sound of the coal shovel scraping across the glass and concrete, wrapped in blankets of sobs from my distraught mother. They had worked so hard together, chopping, cooking, sweating, and hedging their bets against the winter months. But French Creek and Water Street washed away those dreams. My mother's indelible spirit could not be quelled. We moved to Erie to rebuild. She survived many more incidents that would cause sobs, but she kept her eye on the job at hand, which was raising my brother and I to be intelligent and independent. We learned to command strength in times of scraping coal shovels and turmoil and trouble. Thank you.